Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's Mike Newton down here at Penrith Golf Hub, and we've got a really exciting review for you today. And we're going to take a look at what I would say is possibly one of the best looking utility irons on the market. That's beautiful. So just before we jump into the video, if you've been watching the content and you haven't subscribed, I appreciate if you just jump down, hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're there, ring the bell. So as soon as a video comes live on my channel, you'll be sent a notification and you will not miss a thing. Also, you can follow me up on the social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter, and the handles there are at MN Golf Coach. Okay, so we're going to take a look today, a little bit more detail into the new Srixon ZX Utility iron. So I have actually done a review video, but it was a 4 iron that I had at the time. So obviously many of you know I am a bit of a 2 iron player, so I've managed to get my hands on Srixon. Very kindly sent me a 2 iron into my spec. So, and I tell you what, I took the wrapper off this and it's wow, this looks good. You know, it's got that chrome finish on the back. It's very sort of minimalistic. It's just sort of clean there, just small Srixon logo, just the ZX on the back, and that is it. And it just looks very, very classy. Obviously you've got the number 2 18 degree on the sole, and again, that is it. So it's very sort of clean looking. And then when you pop it into that playing position, it's like, for me, just ticking boxes. Very minimal offset there. It's not a long blade length, but it's not, you know, mega small, so it fills you with a little bit of confidence there. Obviously it's a medium to thick top line, as you sort of tend to see with a lot of the utility irons now. And the good thing really there for me is you don't see that back section sticking out. You know, well, you do, you see a fraction of it, but it's sort of masked a little bit. I think because of that finish of that chrome there, it doesn't sparkle. You'd think it would actually shine and really stand out, but it doesn't. It sort of just flows there, so you don't really sort of see that, or it doesn't take your eye away from the actual club face itself. So it's a great looking club. Right, let's get one out there. Oh, and I'll just rip that straight out of the blocks. That's beautiful. Such a good ball flight. The flight that I would be looking at, you know, it's that penetration you see with that utility iron. I think that's pretty much an arrow ball there, really good. So carry that out, 239, 263 total, really good run out, height 77 feet, good ball speed. I might as well just stop the video now. that was really nice. So just gonna hit these off the very small tee, because typically for me, this club would be an off the tee golf club. You know, I'd be using this on those sort of tight holes where you've got to try and make sure you get that ball in play. Maybe if it's a links golf course, a little bit windy for that penetrating ball flight. And, you know, if you want to try and get some release on that ball as well and get it really sort of running and chasing out there, again, it's a good option. Obviously, this is going to be a flatter ball flight in relation to, say, like a hybrid. And, you know, you're going to see that ball really release when it hits that ground. Okay, so that wasn't a perfect strike. That was a little bit of that heel. Interesting, just sort of see there maybe a little bit of drop off there. Yeah, tiny bit. Spin's just gone up a touch loss of ball speed through that slight miss strike, but again, it's pretty accurate. I mean, that's going to be fine in the fairway. So that's the beauty with these sort of clubs, you know, this, or for me anyway, the advantage there, you've got that iron sort of control there, you know, in terms of controlling that left to right sort of dispersion. So just talk a little bit about the technology that's gone into the Srixon. I was saying this is called a main frame technology. So it's a little bit of artificial intelligence has gone into trying to create this club face. Again, it's all around this ball speed, variable face thickness, again, trying to hit ball speed on those little bit of those miss hits. We've got a hollow design, as we see with many of these utility irons. It isn't filled with a substance, so it is a hollow design. Again, it really sort of, for me, helps to get the weight around that perimeter of the golf club, but also create that little bit more flex in that club face. It's got a little bit more give if and nothing behind it. So we've got a 1020 carbon steel forged body to this with a cup face technology. Again, that's the ball speed area. And we've got CG location that's just going sort of very deep in the club, so obviously helping to get that sort of launch of the golf ball. Yeah, that's really good. It's a great feel, it's a great sound off that club face. It looks fantastic behind that golf ball. Really impressed with the looks of that. You know, we know Srixon makes some really good quality products, and you know, I think that's a really good looking iron. I'm casting my mind back when I used to play Srixon irons a few years ago actually now, and I used to have the utility iron in the bag, and I was a really big fan of it. Probably for me it was a chunky look. You saw a lot of that back edge sticking out behind that top edge. It was quite sort of off-putting really with the eye. So this for me is such a better look behind the ball. Yeah, that's lovely. Really, really good. Super ball flight. Very neutral. Yeah, 235 running out 258. That's great. That's exactly what I would want to be sort of getting off that tee out of that golf course. I know it's going to release when it hits that ground. You know, land angle there, you can see mid 30 degrees. So we know that's going to sort of release when that hits that ground. So availability wise for the ZX Utility irons, comes in a 2, a 3 and a 4, and they're available in both right and left-handed. So obviously some good options there. I think it's a club that you could possibly be switching out your long irons and replacing it with one of these, or obviously you've got options of hybrids. Again, it's really, really much dependent on your club delivery and what your flight you're trying to maybe sort of get out on that golf course. If you want that sort of much higher ball flight, possibly a hybrid might be a better option. But if you want that little bit more penetration of an iron flight, an iron look, maybe a little bit of an iron feel, then these are a very good replacement in those long irons. Just a little bit obviously more forgiving with that hollow body. Oh, just pulled that one, struck that very nicely. It's a great flight. I've just pulled it up that left-hand side. Yeah, so quite consistent on that front to back dispersion. Obviously that little bit of that pulley one, that little heely one, they just lost it up that right-hand side, but nothing that probably won't just catch the edge of the fairway, might just find that semi. I think the good thing with these irons as well is something you can really manipulate with that flight. You know, if you're a skilled enough golfer to start manipulating ball flight, maybe through that slight change of ball position, you know, how you can control that dynamic loft coming into that impact position. I think, again, depending on the weather conditions, I'm just thinking if you turn back into a wind and you really want to get that ball flight, you know, under control and keep it down, then definitely this type of iron is a really, really good option, where a hybrid obviously will just try and spin the ball a little bit more, pop it up a bit tougher to really get down and sort of lower it. I'm just going to try and just move this ball back in. I'm going to try and stay over this a little bit longer. Try and control that and just hit that little bit more of a lower ball flight. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really, really good. And that's why I love these types of irons. You can really work and manipulate that ball flight. You see that height there, 53 feet. You know, carry distance hasn't changed massively there, but I've just really lowered that actual flight, you know, for those certain conditions when you're out on that golf course. Right, okay, so there's some shots hit with that 2 iron in that ZX. Let's look at a couple of numbers and see how it's exactly performing. Okay, so we'll first of all look at that bird's eye side on sort of view of those shots there. Clearly you can see that really low one was that last one I've just hit. The one just before it there, or the one just above it, should I say, was probably a little bit of a lower strike on the club face. But the others are typically up into that sort of area, which is still obviously lower than, as I say, that hybrid ball flight. But then the manipulation of knocking that ball flight down, I think, is a really, really good option. And then just quickly sort of looking in at the numbers there, you can see club head speed around that sort of 98 mile an hour mark, ball speed 143, launch 10, spin just over that 3,000 mark, carry 233. I think the key bits again to look at there is that overall height of that ball flight. You can see the difference of that last one that I just knocked down at 53 feet. Again, obviously that's a little bit of my ball position change, how I can influence that dynamic loft that I present at impact. And then how that then affects your sort of land angle. So we can see we're averaging at 31. Obviously that was a lot flatter on that land angle there, so you're going to get quite a bit of run out there. So, you know, with that sort of land angle in that sort of low 30s, mid 30s, we know it's going to release when it hits the ground. Right, okay, so there we go, Srixon ZX Utility iron. I think that is a fantastic looking product, you know, from the back and the side there in the bag. That looks amazing, doesn't it? And I'm ultimately impressed down in that playing position as well. It just sits superb to my eye. It feels good. The numbers are great. I think that's something that I would be very interested in popping in the bag. Just for any of you interested, in terms of the shaft I was using there was the Recoil 95 and the F5 Flex. So the F5 is an X Flex for me and a mid-size grip, so it specs up to me, and that felt really quite nice. I do prefer that, probably that graphite shaft in this utility iron. Those long irons just makes it a little bit easier in terms of forgiveness, and also a little bit of speed as well. Sometimes when you go in that long iron in a steel shaft, it can be quite a heavy golf club, and it just sometimes feels a little bit hard work. Post comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the utility iron. Are you utility iron play? Is that something you pop in the bag? We'd love to hear your thoughts as always, so post them in the comments down below, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.